is a human right, housing is a human right, and I am going to fight until my heart gives out, and I am going to shout until my oxygen gives out. And when I am too sick to fight, I know that all of you are going to keep fighting for us. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. Fight, fight, fight.
This is Mariana Pineda's story, a dedicated advocate, organizer, and powerful voice in the fight for healthcare justice.
Amazing person, the brightest light you've ever seen.
She believed in what Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world, and she never stopped.
In late March, organizers across New York started texting each other the same question. Has anyone heard from Mariana? For several days, nobody had. From the Code Wack podcast, this is Mariana Pineda Presente, a story about a passionate organizer, friendship, motherhood, love, loss, and the people who refuse to let her fight end. Welcome to Code Wack, where we break down how our healthcare system really works, what it means for you, and how we can make it better for everyone. I'm your host, Brenda Gazar. Friends describe Mariana Pineda as brilliant, funny, fiercely loving, an organizer who could command a rally 1 minute and spend the next making sure everyone had eaten. She was a teacher, an immigrant, a single mother raising her youngest son, Max. And before she died earlier this year at age 46, she spent years fighting for healthcare as a human right. But to understand Mariana's activism, you first have to understand Mariana, the person. The first thing people remember about Mariana isn't politics, it's warmth.
Mariana, their pronouns are she, they, el, was the person who could turn strangers into family.
That's her close friend, Carly Paris. Carly is a New York activist who's organized on behalf of patients, LGBTQ plus communities, people with disabilities, immigrants, women, and the environment. She's also faced crushing medical debt while seeking treatment for stage 4 endometriosis. Carly says Mariana had a gift for making people feel safe immediately.
So I first met Mariana at an organizing meeting for DSA on Long Island.
That's the Democratic Socialists of America.
And then I'm pretty sure right away she invited me to her house for there was a get together. And then just at their house there was so much food and just warm. Like I said, she turned strangers into family.
Cooking for organizers, huge spreads for friends, making people feel nurtured and cared for.
Someone who loved food, all kinds of food, and loved having people come over to enjoy in the spread that they put together.
Susan Carbiner met Mariana through the Poor People's Campaign. Susan is a tri-chair of the New York State Poor People's Campaign and coordinator for its Long Island region.
As soon as I met her, we were friends, and she was such a good person.
At a community fair, while other organizers handed out flyers, Mariana spread blankets and art supplies on the grass for children.
Her son started drawing, and all these other children around saw, and they came over and they started drawing and modeling clay, whatever she had. And that gave her the chance to talk with the parents.
Susan laughs, recalling that story that she heard from someone else. Because, of course, Mariana thought of that. At the center of Mariana's life was her son, Max.
They both were each other's world.
Friends say motherhood was what kept her fighting for justice. Even small moments became lessons in care and consent.
And Max is now 10, but the way that she would, even to the cat, be like, we don't touch the cat without consent. Just bringing all things to him. It was so kind of magical to see.
Mariana became activist mom to countless younger organizers. Person people called on when they needed help and guidance, advice, food, comfort, even while seriously ill herself.
They took so many people under their wing to make them feel comfortable. When people weren't being heard, Mariana was the one who people would go to.
And she was funny, really funny.
And I laughed so hard, I almost peed my pants.
That humor mattered because by then, both Carly and Mariana were already navigating devastating health crises. Before COVID, Mariana already lived with asthma and heart problems. But after getting COVID, everything changed.
When she got long COVID, one of her lungs collapsed and the other one partially collapsed, and she was so often in pain.
Friends describe years of escalating illness, COPD, emphysema, blood clots, kidney and blood sugar issues, heart failure symptoms, exhaustion.
It really went downhill after she got COVID, which then translated to long COVID. And that's when just kind of everything started really falling apart.
And yet somehow she kept organizing.
I'd be watching a live stream of a Poor People's Campaign event in Washington, D.C., and there was Mariana talking about healthcare and homelessness.
Friends described watching her body deteriorate while her mind remained astonishingly sharp.
She's one of the smartest people I think I've ever met in my life.
And she was a passionate and convincing orator.
For any number of issues, obviously healthcare was their number one. She never needed to write anything down. And it just blew my mind how all of this information she just had, and she connected to the issue so fast. Her mind must have run like 1,000,000 miles an hour.
When illness forced Mariana to stop teaching, she lost her employer health insurance. Eventually, she and her son Max moved into a shelter.
I specifically remember the cockroaches and how she would stay up at night so that she could swat them away from Max.
He also was spending a lot of time at the emergency room because he couldn't stop scratching the bedbug bites that he was getting in the shelter. The shelter was a horrible, horrible place for a young boy to spend his 8th and 9th years.
The shelter bus often failed to pick Max up for school. Child Protective Services investigated Mariana because of his absences. Meanwhile, Mariana's own health continued declining. But even there, she organized.
She was organizing the other people in the shelter into a tenants union to fight homelessness. She never stopped advocating for people's rights.
While living in a shelter, while struggling to breathe, while fighting exhaustion and pain, Mariana was still building community, still advocating for others, still trying to change systems bigger than herself. Again and again, Mariana ended up in the emergency rooms. Friends say she often wasn't believed.
She was ignored. They also, I think, didn't believe her because she was in a shelter, so they thought that she was looking for relief from that. They considered her drug-seeking.
By that point, Mariana had lost the employer insurance she once had as a teacher. When we first interviewed Mariana in the summer of 2021, she was paying $3,000 a month for Cobra to keep her employer-sponsored health care. A GoFundMe page had raised $12,000 for that cause. Susan Carbiner says after becoming too sick to work, Mariana was forced into Medicaid-level care, and she believes hospitals treated her differently because of it.
She couldn't afford to pay for insurance after she used up her savings. She had to go on Medicaid. And she couldn't get all of the care that she needed to keep her alive.
Susan says hospitals repeatedly stabilized Mariana in moments of crisis, only to discharge her before she was truly safe.
Every time she went in, she was released before she should have been. She wasn't given the total care. One time they had her scheduled for a pacemaker, and then when they took her off the temporary pacemaker, her heart was beating okay, and they just sent her home. And that was the last time. She died a few days after that. They didn't keep her there to see if she really did need a pacemaker.
Friends believe race, disability, poverty, housing status, and the kind of insurance Mariana had all shaped the care she received.
Quite a few times when she was in the hospital, she would call me crying because of pain or because of other issues, even just things like she needed help to go to the bathroom and the nurses were not helping her. They weren't giving her the adequate equipment. So then I would either call or show up, and because I'm white, I was able to get her the care that she should have had, regardless of a white person asking for it.
When she went to the hospital, for example, one time they were being very pushy, and she had what's known as an autistic meltdown, and they treated it as an emotional breakdown and put her in the psych ward. It was not a psychological problem.
And through it all, Mariana kept going. She traveled to Albany to advocate for the New York Health Act. She organized mutual aid. She built coalitions. She started Spanish lessons for activists weeks before she died.
She never stopped. I think she felt that if she didn't keep pushing herself as far as she could, that she was giving up and that she would die. She may have known that she wasn't going to live very long, but she wasn't going to give in to it.
Carly remembers Mariana talking often about needing to stay alive for Max.
She would say how she needed to keep fighting for Max.
Then, in late March, friends stopped hearing from her. A group chat began buzzing. People called, texted, waited. Finally, a friend who knew someone in Mariana's apartment building asked them to check on her.
And that's when we found out that she had passed away.
The date was March 31st, 2026. Mariana Pineda was 46 years old. In activist spaces, there's a tradition. When someone dies, a speaker calls their name, and the crowd answers, Presente, present, still here.
There are so many people who are carrying on her work because of her friendship, because of her inspiration.
A community garden she helped create still grows food for families in need. Organizers renamed a disability justice working group in her honor. Friends continue fundraising for her son Max. And the movement Mariana helped build keeps moving forward. Mariana Pineda, Presente. Next time on Code Wack, what would universal healthcare have meant for Mariana? And why do her friends believe the New York Health Act could have saved her life? If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to support Code Wack, subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. This episode was powered by Heal California, uplifting the voices of those fighting for healthcare reform around the country. Thanks for listening. I'm Brenda Gazar, and until next time, stay healthy.